Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. All right. So, what we said we would do at our last meeting was get back together today and really do two things. Prepare for a presentation to council and also continue to go through the survey findings and get to a point where we felt like we really had gone through the findings and refined a set of our very own recommendations. So those are kind of the two things on the agenda. Is there anything else we should add or do, or do those two things feel like they're sufficient?
Good.
All good? All right. I thought it might help to begin with the end in mind by actually talking about what we're doing in terms of a presentation to council, like kind of preparing that first, because then we can, as we're in part two, we can kind of have in mind what the end point is. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. So, presentation we could do, the soonest would be December 2nd or 9th, which is, those are the two next council meetings, a workshop meeting on the 2nd, regular council meeting on the 9th. Karen, would you have a suggestion based on agendas, like should we stick to the workshop meeting?
So I have, if the Cunningtown neighbors come, do they want to make that presentation at all? Or
No.
not? When we suggested they do it at a workshop, no, it's completely off the table?
From what I understand, we're not talking about them doing a presentation.
Okay. Well, then I have one, because when they talked about the workshop would be the appropriate venue for a presentation, then I had two. And council generally doesn't like to have more than two, because it takes, pretty long, maybe 6 to 10 minutes. So, but if the Cunningtown people don't, and their slide presentation was 6 slides.
Oh,
but-
yeah.
Well, we know it could go longer than just 6 slides.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
I think they were okay with, though, us reviewing it just so we knew for sure what they were talking about.
okay.
They seemed to think there was some sort of misunderstanding between like the north side and the south side, and specifically where they wanted things. And I think the site visit is also to make sure we're all on the same page. My answer is I don't think they need to do it.
Okay. So based on that, I would say the 2nd.
Okay.
You want to plan for the 2nd?
What do you all think about that? So December 2nd would
Presentation
be the council workshop meeting, which is typically where there are presentations. So that is roughly 3 weeks out. You want to shoot for that?
Sure.
I mean, on occasion, agendas change. So if we got to a point where, for whatever reason, you said, like, we're really not ready, like, no one's going to hold the group's feet to the fire. Like, if you said you need to take it off, we could take it off, but at least shoot for it. Okay, sounds good. I think it would be helpful typically with council presentations, it's helpful for council to get something in advance that they could review and kind of be prepared. So I think Brandon's offered to continue working with us, maybe to have a report available. Hi, Ralph, how you doing? And then I guess we could decide if we're going to do something like a PowerPoint presentation, if we'd want to have that available as well. But report and potentially like PowerPoint. Does that sound like what you might envision doing?
Sounds fine to me.
All right. All right. Last time we had talked about the fact that the group, I think someone, even though, Kristen and I are on council, Karen's township manager, Brandon's here representing IT, like, I don't think we should be giving the presentation. I think people from the group should. And anyone, I think, who's part of this team can chime in, can be part of the discussion. It's not that, one person only can present, but we should probably identify a presenter or presenters, and then other members of this team could be there and certainly be part of any conversation that takes place. Does that sound reasonable? Everybody on the bus for that? Okay. I think last time Dawn had offered to present. I don't know if anyone else is interested, if you want to do a co-presenter role. Did you hear that? I don't hear anything.
For moral support.
Okay, then. That's what it is.
You're on the hook, my
Okay.
friend. Okay.
Fine.
And I think we have some leeway to decide like the length of the presentation. I don't think we're tied into, it can only be 15 minutes or it has to be anything. So I think as a group today, we can decide what it is we're presenting and then allocate that time on the agenda, kind of back into it. Does that sound okay? Is there anything else, I mean, just immediately in terms of like knowing what we're shooting for, we should identify with the presentation?
I think that we need to make sure that the scope of the presentation is precise, because we're going to try and propose the new website and what kind of angles we want to take the website. So I know there's a lot on here about other vectors when it comes to communication that we don't really need to touch on. Might be excess, like Facebook and such. It could be helpful, but I think the most meaningful discussions will be what types of things we need from the website and why.
Okay. So that can be, it sounds like that should be like heavy emphasis there.
This would be like the thesis, I guess, of the.
But does it make sense to cover, I think your point, Brandon, is cover other things, but maybe more lightly? Like, I would assume we still want to share our thoughts, the group's thoughts about what to do with Facebook, any of the other social media that we looked at and said, there were some suggestions about we shouldn't disregard it, but we should kind of take a light touch.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
You could even do something like, our data shows, we found these categories, Facebook, X, whatever, blah, blah, but our real true focus is on this one, and what we want to present tonight is based on this and what our data shows. You can still mention those things, but just those big topics, keep them precise and just, we didn't ignore the other ones, we told you they're there, but we're not shooting any data around for that one.
I think also saying that we want to give real information, because a lot of people are also getting information from other sites, so we want to make sure that our information is accurate and it's a good place, a good source to get accurate information.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we did, that's a great point. We did talk about making sure that all other sources of information point to the website, like that's the single source of truth, and we could use social media to say, click here to go to the website and find this. Oh, you're interested in this? Click here, it takes you to the website. And even, something that I think is less intuitive from the findings is the whole issue about how to manage those neighborhood groups, like the fact that people are using those for information and sometimes getting misinformation. So that might be a finding that's worth exploring a little bit with council, like to, the idea of maybe finding an ambassador inside those groups or sharing information directly with someone inside the group who then, again, it's not up to them to craft communications on behalf of the township, but here's the information, point people to the website. Here's something that's happening, point people to the website. So.
Right.
Okay. Anything else? That's a great point, so thank you, Brendan. Anything else in terms of the presentation that we should kind of like nail down right out of the gate before we
It would
talk
be
about
a
it?
good idea just to give an intro summary of how long it was open for, how many people responded, some demographics, so people, see how successful the survey was.
Yeah, and that's some of the slides in here we can utilize in the final presentation. Like, I'm not sure if all of these slides are needed. It might just be might be excessive to an extent, but I think seeing maybe something like that, or I think age could be a good one, and the time frame, which I don't think is actually on here, but like this, 656 total responses.
This is something, though, that you could give council in advance.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So if you flip your agenda over to Chris's point, I thought maybe, and this is just a suggestion, so you can adjust it, shoot it down, suggest anything else, but having kind of a three-part presentation, like a high-level overview of the survey findings. So here's the data, not in gory detail, but to your point, Chris, like this is how how long it was open, this is how many people took the survey, a little bit about the demographics, the high-level findings that are of interest. So here's the data, here's some of our key takeaways from the data. People go here, they look here, they like this, no one looks at that, and then here are recommendations. So kind of those three parts, and probably heavy emphasis on the recommendations.
I have an idea.
Please.
It seems to me that we should also mention how we came up with the survey.
Ooh, I
The
like that.
process of how we did that, and just, like a 2-minute summary. It's a minor part, but I think it's important for them to understand that we really thought about what to put on there.
Love it.
And to like the diversity of the group. Like you picked people from different parts of the township, different age groups, and also that's what we tried to do in the survey too.
And we also tried to get, we made a conscious effort to get input from different people, in particular apartment dwellers.
That's a great point. Yeah, I love that. So that could even be before the survey findings, sort of here's how we created the survey, here's all the kind of the thought process. Love that. Everybody good with that?
Right, that pre-survey that we did.
Yeah, it might be something to mention after we present the results, because I kind of think you want to get to the meat of it right away, but then say, well, here's why it's really meat and not just, a bunch of random data.
Great. Okay. So maybe putting that at the tail end is what you're suggesting. Okay.
Towards the middle or somewhere, middle or towards the end.
Cool. Love it. Other ideas?
Yeah, I would say like add it through between 2 and 3 would be a good place.
Okay.
So to sort of, provide support, this is why we think these are good ideas and good questions and so on.
Great. Cool. Other thoughts?
So what would our suggestion be on point 3?
That's a good point. That's what.
Like, what's the crux? Like, what are we asking? What are we trying to sell here? With everything that, all this work we've done. And it's pertaining, I suppose, about the website, right?
Yes, that was
Mostly,
That
right.
was the whole
So,
reason for the committee.
I think we need to bring in, like, the things that we want on the website and why. What things that, sound nice, but we might not need, or things like that. And just so we can sell the idea that our website definitely needs some work in order to satisfy the needs of the results. Some people saying that it's hard to find things. So we got to make sure that we're really focused on wrangling those results up and driving home that point that there are certain things on the websites that we need. And to do that, we need to obviously get the approval from the council.
Okay.
I
So,
think everybody agrees. And we just don't need it to be like fixed, we need to start over, right?
oh, yeah.
Is this the first time council's hearing this?
No.
Or are they aware, wasn't it already in the budget to do this? Or is that something different?
Yeah, no, you're correct. So it's been budgeted, but
Yeah.
the committee was formed because we thought rather than just like, oh, isn't this exciting? We have money to go do a new website. We thought, let's actually take a more analytical approach
Okay.
to the website.
So council didn't really know that there was a need to do it?
No, I think
They
they
knew.
did.
I think everybody knew.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was really old. Our website's just really old.
Just because it's old, but then here they're
Hard to
hearing,
find things.
I guess, from the residents specifically why.
I think, and I'm thinking, I don't know how much detail, but like in talking about that, what are the features that this new website would have that we didn't have? So
That's
some
the
of
part about selling the idea of what kind of website we want and why we need it.
And I guess referencing that like other ones were looked at, and here's what a lot of municipalities are doing.
Looked at a lot.
and ours.
Yeah.
And also display our research and obviously outreach to the community that we did our homework and we figured out what we need and exactly why we do need such features, because each feature you bolt on is going to cost more. And I think we want to find a compromise between spending enough money and getting what we need rather than spending too much money and getting way more than we actually need. Because some of the other vectors like Facebook and such can inform our decision. Like maybe we don't need that nice feature on one website. It would be nice to have, but would people really use it? Because we might be getting enough clicks on Facebook or X. So yeah, they're all things to consider.
and you always talk about, like, there's the wants and the needs. So would you think we just push our needs?
Yeah, I would say
Exclude the wants.
Yeah, that's what I was
wouldn't.
thinking.
I would
Yeah.
go in with
More
like,
emphasis
here's
on the
what we
need.
think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like here's what we think that we really need. Like we need a new website where it's easier to click, where people can find their trash pickup dates and where to vote and whatever we decide. But what would really be effective as well, depending on what cost, parameters we have, is to have, you can click here and it opens up this. It takes you to the police website. It takes you over here. Things that people are, whatever we decide. Like I think you throw that in there too. And then at some point when you get the prices, you go, well, these were the wants, or these were the needs, and now here are the wants. Now how do we prioritize the wants and how much money do we have? Like I think you go in with everything, and hey, if you get it all, fantastic. And if you get 5 out of 6, okay.
Don't they usually, they'll price it in modules usually, like software will come with modules, and then you can decide, like kind of alternates, like, well, here's the base price, and we add this part on and that part and the next one, and, each one has a price, and then you decide, do we really need it for, that many dollars, or
Don't increase
not?
my taxes, I think I'll go with with the wants.
And with that concept of the wants and needs, we don't necessarily even have to like, in the presentation, we don't even really have to parse it, right? To me, I'm thinking we just present what we feel like the website should be, right? We give it all, this is what the website should be. Once we have to go in for the pricing, behind the scenes, we'll know what the wants and needs are, and then we can. But I think it sells better if you give them the whole thing.
Whole picture?
Yeah, the whole picture because some of those wants would look good, and right, and make someone say, yeah, and get more eager with it, versus saying it's a want. Then they're kind of already like, well, we're only focused on the needs. But if we just give them the full picture, they'll see a beautiful picture, and then, later have to determine what do we cut, what do we, from that point of view. But I would try to present it in total.
And you won't know until you get a new quote.
Right.
And then that quote will really be good for like no more than 30 days. So just kind of, we have to know that, and council has to know that. Because if we take too long, if we take 40 days to decide, that quote is no good. And the next quote you get is going to even just be more money. So that's just something, just to remember. Once we get the pricing, you're going to have to act quick, within 30 days. Or you're going to have different pricing.
I just want to expand on Ron? Yeah, his point. I think also, if we give the whole picture, then if we need to trim back, we have the data that supports, those decisions. I think that's a strong point that we can put forward is, we're not just guessing, we actually have real data.
Also, we've looked into other township websites. Do we talk about that? Or the companies, you said there's like 3 companies, I think?
Two main
There's like
ones.
2 main
Two, and
players.
do they do most of are they local around? So if we,
Focus on municipalities.
so do you get a quote from each of them?
Yeah, that's what we'll do. Yeah.
I also identified a few smaller players that are out there. There are some other companies that I don't know if they would be worth considering or not.
And we just say 2 because they're the main 2. that
There are 2
most
big ones,
of
yeah.
The big ones that most municipalities are using and whose websites we like. But you're right, there's probably others, and as long as they have a good reputation, you could get multiple quotes. But this is probably a professional service, so we don't have to go with a low bid. I wouldn't think. We'll get the solicitor's opinion, but I'm pretty sure this will be a service. You can choose the company you want because it's a professional service, be my guess, as opposed to being required to take a low bid.
And then one other thing that I don't believe was on the slides though is the mobile view, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think that's
I think
huge.
everybody's going that, everybody's pretty much
That's a
there.
good point to bring up.
right.
Yeah, it's a good
I think it's in that
reason to justify, the expenditure.
Right, because that is an important piece, because I have a hunch a lot of people access the website from their
Totally.
device rather than a computer.
We should have asked that in the survey.
Yeah, I know.
Where are you taking
Yeah.
this survey?
Mobile device survey, yeah.
Yeah,
Think of
We
that.
did,
well, we'll have to find it, so, yeah. we might-
Yeah.
but like
Not your
PC or
Yeah.
phone.
But even even a question
Yeah.
on what platform do you access the news, the news items?
It's your phone.
I think it's their phone. I thought a lot of the stuff they want is like, do I have trash today? You're not going to log on your computer. It's like, I'm going to look on my phone. I'm running out to work. Or my kid's got practice and I'm like sitting there and trying to find stuff or something. I think it's their phone.
I don't want to spoil our fun of talking about the website, but I'm wondering if it would help just to kind of start at the top and say, what is the data? Because I think if we're going to say to council, if you're going to say to council, here's what we think you should do, it'd be nice to here's what we heard. Here's the data. This is what we heard, and these are our recommendations as a result. So, would it help just to kind of say, this is the data we want to actually put in front of council? So when Dawn's presenting, she's going to say, let me run you through this. We had 656 people take the survey. It was open for this period of time. Here are the demographics. We worked hard, to Al's point, to get a lot of different people and different demographics in the survey. Here's what we hear. Here's what we heard. People, they go here, they don't go there. I think that kind of makes the case for your recommendations. So I don't know if it does help to start with, let's just pinpoint what data goes in here, and then we could start digging deep on it. The recommendations, as a result, these are the recommendations, and this is how deep we'll go on those. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. It could just be that my brain thinks that way, but maybe nobody else's does. And I'm open to doing it differently. But if we used kind of our existing report, could we just quickly highlight, this is what goes in? So council will get this whole thing, but there's only, to your point, there's only so much you're going to say in a presentation. You're not going to go through page by page. So what are the high points? I assume you'd find that helpful. Would you not?
Yes. Either that or I'm gonna go through it later and figure out what they say, yeah.
I would say certainly the amount of responses that we received from the survey, and also the timeline of how long we ran it for.
Which was what? Remember?
By looking at this, ballpark,
It was 6 weeks, right? 5 or 6 weeks. We could find the exact dates, but it was,
18th, I know that.
I want to say we opened it on something like
It was like 2
September
months.
5th or.
Wasn't it, it's on this
2 months.
graph, right?
October
You
18th.
push it, it says July 29th.
Yeah, I guess that's, well, no, because there was a little bit of time when I created the survey, so that was,
But it's our tests, maybe.
but I think once it started the bubble there, I think that's when.
So maybe
It started.
8/19 to 10/21, 2 months.
Well, I thought
It was
I can
early
get the.
September.
yeah, it was.
Yeah, I thought it was September too,
Yeah, I think it was one of the first days of,
Yeah.
the first week of September.
So
I could find out for sure.
Yeah, so we'll find the day. So it sounds like we want to share it was open for this long.
This many people.
This many people. And I love what you said, Alec. I think it helps to know we really worked hard to make sure there was broad representation at the township. We kept it we worked super hard to say it's under 5 minutes, like it's a 3-minute survey. What else goes in?
I don't really think this matters that much.
Yeah.
Might be it's I think it's
Passing
helpful, but
comment
yeah.
that, like,
yeah.
It's good to know that other people are interested.
But we were saying that we also tried to also get the renters and the homeowners. We were trying to really,
I think it's worth maybe highlighting the age breakdown, just because you're going to talk about all these things you want to put in, it helps to show that, hey, this isn't just, one demographic over another. It's a pretty good range.
Yep. And even just a quick mention about the non-residents, because we were cognizant of the fact that a lot of people who use the community center are non-residents, but they're looking for information from the township, so. And I think that was also thoughtful, we didn't rule them out, we ruled them in. All right, what else stays? Can I see this?
Sure. I'm just trying to add notes.
I would say this graph proves that we are getting a lot of traffic to the website, so we're getting a lot of eyes on the website. So that reinforces the idea that we need a very good website that's modernized for younger people and older people alike. So,
And I
and
don't,
the community center website.
I don't think you need to mention the social media. I mean, obviously give everybody the information, but,
Because that was sort of like
and there's no cost associated with it either, so.
right. I think that might be like more fluff stuff, because if we're looking at what's the reason we're proposing
Yes,
to
yes.
council, I think these are more of just sidebars. I don't think they're meaningless. There might be a way we can tie this into.
Which is what
Into
we
our-
said before.
Well, which goes back to the
Yes.
reliable information.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't think you need to focus on like how, the real details about that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, because I think once we mention the traffic that goes to the website now, it's, right, the concept is if it's, whatever the website is now and it's generating this amount of traffic, a new improved website, will bring exponentially more traffic. And like you're saying, that social media stuff basically is,
Well, it could prove the point that people want a more clean, sleek, organized breakdown of information that they might be able to get from Facebook or Instagram that's lacking on the website, so people choose that over the website. So you could make that case, but
Yeah?
might be more of a stretch.
I mean, well, to the way you just said it, though, we might not even need that feel of wanting it sleek, similar to the social media feeds, and really not even have to break out which feeds. Most people know what the social media feeds are, so, but that's what the new website we're trying to get it to, is that sleek,
Modern look.
modern feel and look.
I think it's worth showing that, in some way showing the information on the push versus pull versus not interested slide, because at the end, you're kind of saying to council, hey, here's what residents say they're interested in. Like, these are the big things people want to know about, because that, I think that kind of brings everything together. Like, what are people looking for? What's the news and the information they want?
Exactly.
That's your 10 minutes, Ms. Gaffney.
Okay, that's all I got. Good. I'll have the phone on. Time it. Sorry, I can't talk anymore. Just flop.
Better rehearse that.
Did we discuss how long a presentation we should?
10 minutes.
I don't think it should be super long.
Yeah.
And the way I talk, like
was
10
thinking
minutes is probably like 8 minutes.
10 or
So
15.
we do like 12, it'll
I
probably
mean,
get us to 10.
It's really not like, it's not a, like, there's no stress involved. Like, honestly, if it's 12 minutes or 15 minutes, I mean, we shouldn't be crafting an hour-long presentation, but, right? But I mean, no one's timing you, like, there's really not like a stopwatch going where you're like, it's gotta be 10 or less. But I think the idea is keep it concise.
So that we were thoughtful, we were thorough, we were committed to this, so.
Okay, so it sounds like all the other stuff is really just going to be those things in service of getting people to the website, making sure there's good information on the website. And then Chris, you're saying where people want, like, opt-in, make it easy.
Yeah, just a quick highlight of what people say they really want easy access to.
That's how you're gonna sell your notifications, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is probably, in my mind, the biggest
I agree.
feature. I actually just got an email from somebody. It's like, you guys should incorporate something like this. I think you're right.
Screen?
So it's obviously something, and it can be found on all those websites that are designed by those two big players. So, and then this is also kind of this piggybacking off of it. You have the option, I think, with that feature to get it, email it, or text to you. So there's obviously demand.
And then, how we just got that burn notice? Someone was saying, I didn't get that. How did you get that? So those are, not everyone's getting those, so that's a pretty important one.
Just sign up, right?
Yeah, it's code red on the
So
website.
it's on the.
On the homepage, right?
Yeah, right up front, smack in the middle.
How do you find the website?
Yeah. But that'd be a good thing to push, right? Like with a new website, we can make a point of like highlighting that, or, you know, we talked about different uses of the newsletter, like there's ways to point people to it, because maybe people just don't know.
Right.
Okay, so,
What time is the council meeting on this, on the 2nd of December? Is it 7 o'clock?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, okay.
So I guess it's good to make sure everybody can be there. Yes.
You don't need your presenter showing up at 7 o'clock. You're like, we had a presentation, but I'm not here.
Okay, so that gets us to, okay, we know what we want to present, we've got the data. What next? Any some high level, some key points you want to make before you go into the details of the website? I mean, anything that's, okay, here's our big takeaways.
Well, and you talked about a PowerPoint, or you're sending this to them ahead of time?
I think we should share this in advance, and then if you wanted to have like a slide presentation up, because, well, some of this might be repetitive, right? So it'd be on the slides, and it's also in their packet, but I imagine we'll get to a point where there'll be some recommendations that aren't in here. Or they could be, I mean, the whole thing could be, analyze this, put the recommendations in it, not present it, but have paper.
You send this to me, is it in PowerPoint or no?
That's a PowerPoint.
If you send me the PowerPoint, we could keep, I mean, I could do it too, we could keep in what we want to present, put in the topics that we need to add, still give this to the board ahead of time.
Yeah.
And then we'll come with a revised one
Yeah.
with our comments or whatever in there and just go from there.
So yeah, I think that then the next thing is, here's what we recommend, like here's what we think this new website, this new communication vehicle should have. And you start hitting them with all the points.
Okay. So should we start listing what all the website features are? What's on the list?
The initial ease of finding it, I think,
Yes.
would be like the first.
The one where we talked about.
I mean, actually, to be able to find it and not end up in like Michigan or Missouri County.
Oh, I get calls from Michigan, Plymouth, Michigan all the time. As soon as I see the area code, that's funny.
But you said that they've done something to push us up.
Yeah, it still doesn't seem to be super, like,
Gotcha.
I think we definitely need, like, high level search engine optimization. They just enabled a plug-in. Really isn't built in like in the code of the website or whatever they use, but it's better than it was for sure. But I think that's just something that comes standard with
The new
modern websites. So I don't think we're gonna have to worry about that too much.
We have to say it in the presentation, but then maybe later, like, talk about advertising. Now we have a new website. I don't know, somehow push that out.
Yeah, that's definitely. I think that's. Yeah, because we definitely want people to come and check it out and say, "Oh, I'm gonna come here more."
Right, because I would.
It's easier to use now.
Go to it if I don't know, there's like a new.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something for later, but to really push out to everybody that there's this new site through, I don't know.
It really does come up first in my Google search now, and it never did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It did not.
Yeah.
Impressive work, Brandon. Well,
One.
It was coming up with PDFs.
yeah, it was all.
PDFs
Yeah,
were.
just
within the
being
newsletter.
It was
posted.
all pages within the website. Yeah.
It was very.
So Becky, maybe to your point, there's two sets of recommendations. One set is, here's the stuff that should be built into the website, but here's another series of recommendations. Because the other recommendations are things like that, right? You actually need to communicate the new website. If we change the website and don't tell anybody it's new, no one will know. Maybe we do need to communicate things like the code red.
Or even we said in the beginning, now that you're saying this, in our survey, our thing was, your opinion matters. Like, we listened to you, and we have a new updated website based on your recommendations. Somehow, like, that could be part of
Yeah,
our
yeah.
advertising,
Yeah.
because that was our initial line in our survey.
I think one of our recommendations should be communicate the results of the survey to residents. right? Almost 700 people took the survey, and they're probably going like, what'd they do with that? Right? It'd be nice to say, here's what we're doing, here's what we heard, and again, sort of high level, this many people took it, here's the big findings, and here's what, maybe once council agrees to what the steps are, and here's what council is doing with it. Like, just doing that is a communication win.
Yeah, put it right on the website.
That's easy for us to do now.
Yeah, I mean, and right, it should almost be the same thing, right? The same presentation.
Yeah.
Right, because if they came to the township meeting, or if they were able to tap into the meeting, they would hear the presentation. They say, oh, I took the survey and this is what came of it. So I would think that, like you're saying, if we put that on the website or somewhere, it would be the same type, not even the same exact presentation.
Yeah.
And then with that final caveat, once, if the council approves it and, inform that, we can move forward with wherever we're going.
That's great, yeah, so there's a set of communications that are sort of above and beyond or outside the website, and then there's some website communications. Because even like the, push things through social media to get to the website is its own recommendation. Use the neighborhood groups, be more strategic about the use of the neighborhood groups.
I tried to
That's
get
its own
into a few
recommendation.
neighborhood groups and I got dismissed.
I did see your post in one of them.
Well, I can post in the ones I'm in, but nobody let me into any new ones that I tried.
It's like the time I tried to get into Women in White March.
I can post in that one. They let me in that one.
But it might even mean finding like a friend inside those groups and saying, we'll share the information with you. So you could post valid, timely information. You don't have to make it up. You don't have to go hunting for something about the township. We'll send things along. Or if you have a question, ask us. I mean, rather than having people make stuff up or wonder or, they're hunting it down on.
They can't find it.
Yeah, saying we can't, well, exactly. Exactly. Okay. So I'm just kind of keeping a list. There's the other recommendations and inside the website recommendations, so keep going. I'm going to throw something out there for you to think about. Should a recommendation to council be that a citizen board on the topic of communication is a permanent feature?
Can you please say that again?
So should you all recommend to council that there's a citizen board, there's a communication advisory council that is a citizen board, its own citizen board that stays together and keeps on top of communication-related needs, wins, challenges?
Yeah, I think it is an important angle in a township that I think is overlooked sometimes. So I think there's definitely some merit to holding these types of meetings, even if we were to make them every other month.
Every other month.
Or quarterly.
Quarterly, maybe.
Just a kind of an audit or a checkup of where we're at,
Yeah.
what we've seen.
Do you find like at your meetings, things come up about communication? And then you could say, oh, no, you have this committee, it could go to them.
Well, there's lots of things that happen where groups would say that I'm looking for information, it's hard to find, or we're trying to get information from, through council or from council, or like, I think there's a lot of communication opportunities for us to just be better.
And also, I think we're in the digital age, and we're just going to keep going that way. And so I think we need to make sure that our communication is modernized in the context of the times that we live in.
Yeah.
I think it's actually a great recommendation I didn't even think about.
I mean, the same way we have an environmental advisory board, like, it's not that people on council don't care about the environment, but like, they're passionate about that topic, they bring things to our attention, the same way a communication group could bring things to our attention, like, hey, here's something we're hearing residents say, or here's a miss, or here's an opportunity, or this is going well, keep doing it.
It would also help for members of that group to get the word out as well.
And also, we're in the digital age, but we're also in the age of misinformation online. It's communication and talk is going. So much conversation is being had, and I think it's really important to make sure that there's a place for them to come for objective information.
I think to the our population will be changing. Like right now, we put it out now, like, hey, we have a new website because the 600 people took it. But in 6 months, a year, you still want to push it out to the new people coming in and out of the community. And then earlier, you were saying like the 20-year-olds, not as engaged, but then they get to be homeowners, more engaged. I was also wondering too, as I'm thinking, could we connect with realtors?
It's awesome.
That's a good
say,
idea,
you know,
yeah.
here's
Yeah.
the website, or here's, I don't know,
That's a
something
good
to
point.
connect with them, because that's when you were saying when, you know, you're getting married and you have a house and you're more connected to the community.
That's why we need a communication advisory council to come up with ideas like that.
And with the council, will it be like if they went to the website and concerns or issues were being raised there, would that be the type thing that comes back to the council and try to hammer out a solution for it?
I think,
That sounds like a really good first step.
yeah, I think it's a good question, but a group like that
Because I
could
don't know
certainly
who else
help
would-
troubleshoot communication-based challenges.
I'm with it.
Yeah.
Seems like it'd be within scope, right?
Because I guess traditionally, when someone brought up, maybe there's a communication error, you guys would have to take that on as council, right? And you have nothing to do with it, except for solve it on your own as council. So having a group like this would be able to move it along a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of eyes and ears in the community, people who are thinking about the topic of communication and, you know, providing advice to council.
Karen, once upon a time, didn't we do new homeowner packets?
I feel like I remember getting something like that, like 15 years ago.
Like a
Yeah, it
folder,
was-
and inside it was all paper, obviously.
Yeah.
But based on the deed transactions, and we knew when people bought homes, and it had a folder, and it had all kinds of information, you know, churches, schools, your trash day, you know. It had a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff in it.
Yeah, and that would be good for
Applications.
apartments owners also.
Yeah.
Because I think, and don't you post in the schools, don't you post to their Friday folders
Yeah,
and things?
I do.
Their e-folder?
Yes, right, right. Because that's, population's also always changing, you know, so.
Here's something else.
I think that's like a yes to your question.
It's on my list, I go with the yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that doesn't, it's not pressure for any of you, right? I mean, if it's a role you wanted to have, then you could certainly say that going forward. But I don't say it to like pressure you into staying as a part of the council, but I think a council is cool. What about, would you all want to say to council, we'll help you review websites? I mean, one of our recommendations is like, keep this group alive, and we'll support the review of your website, your platform providers,
Just
in conjunction, of course, with.
Yes, and you can do that.
IT
I
and-
just want to say, like, logistically, I don't know that the salesmen who come out to sell these websites and give us the quotes would be sitting through, you know, monthly meetings like this. That's just not how that's going to work, is it? You know, do you think? I don't think that's going to work that
It's
way.
probably a stretch.
Yeah, that wouldn't be.
No, I wouldn't see them coming to a monthly meeting, but, I mean,
I mean, I think we
Some of
need,
them coming, like doing a Zoom at the last meeting?
I think we need to tell
Zooming.
them what we want. And then that, you know, like, let Len and Brandon and Juan communicate that to
Yeah.
the vendors. We have a list of things we want. You know, this is what we want, what we need. This is everything.
We could parse it down.
And here's what we need, so obviously some base pricing for this and maybe some alternate pricing for the other modules or whatever. Other things are not included in their base package, but,
That's why I think we would need a really precise list. And then we would go to them, and then we'd come back to one of these, and then talk about it then, and then cut some things, go back, and then make a final decision. It's sometimes hard, especially to get everyone, it would have to be during, business hours.
Sure.
To get everyone onto a call. And if that's something that they're comfortable with, the vendor, There's a couple of moving parts in there. Not saying it's out of the realm of possibility.
All right,
It's
so
a
maybe
conversation we could have, like internally.
it's a light maybe.
Yeah, I'd say it's a light maybe. I'm not for sure.
Okay. I mean, I suggest it because I know everybody had a lot of energy around it, and everyone's been thinking, like, website enhancements,
And you
but.
want to get your quotes, you would be talking to these vendors, you know, at the same time, so that you get the quotes, and they're going to run for like about the same 30 days. Because in that time frame, you're going to have to accept one of them, or none of them, like we did last time. But otherwise, you know, they're going to give you another quote. I mean, I just want to make sure everybody understands that it's going to be a very short window from when they give you the quote till, you know, maybe we have a meeting in between and a council meeting, you know, and the decision has to be made at the next council meeting to award it. It's just going to be 30 days or less. It could be 15 days. You know, it's going to be short.
So will there have to be,
It's
I mean,
gonna be
obviously,
short.
I understand how that works, but when we do have to go back to council and do the final proposing, that, you know, after we had the conversation with the vendors, we've accepted everything, we still have to come to the have that come up in the meeting, right? And you guys would have to make a resolution, right?
Well, yeah, not a resolution, but
Not a
I mean, just
resolution.
like a decision to.
A decision. Yeah,
to.
an official decision.
Award, you know, to award that job to that vendor.
But there's so many examples to look at too. I mean, lots
Yeah.
of other municipalities are using these vendors, so.
Right.
And I think, right, because I was just looking, we kind of went through at another meeting,
Mm-hmm.
and we did highlight things that we said. So, and maybe you said it, but I couldn't hear it. So when you meet with these companies, do you give them your list? Like you meet just once, and then you say, this is what our needs are, these are what our wants, and then they come back with something? Or do you have, is there a lot of back and forth?
I'm sure there could be some back and forth ahead of time, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been in a couple of these types of meetings where you've made special requests to vendors, and sometimes like, oh, you know what, we're not sure about that, we'll get back to you on that. And then they'll go out and talk to their engineers, and then they'll come back with an email saying, yes, we can do it, no, we can't, or they're gonna have a follow-up call. So sometimes it can be a lot of back and forth. Sometimes it can be really clear, they just say, this is the package. Maybe you have like 3 different packages, and you have to choose one.
You know, it's like holidays.
Unfortunately, I wasn't part of the preliminary conversations with those vendors, so I don't really have experience with talking to them.
But once that quote is given, it will have a limit to it. You know, a 30-day, no more than 30 days, I'd be shocked if it was any more than 30, and it could be 15 days. They want you to be ready to you know, to sign the dotted line.
So just real quick with that, 2 things with this concept. One, when you mention ready to sign, is that before council approves it? Like you can say we want this vendor and then go to council, and what if council says no?
So generally, the way the things that are approved in the budget, generally what council has asked in the past is, so we had a large dollar figure in probably in our 2023 budget. But they always want to know before they spend more than $10,000, you know, would you come back to council, like department heads come back to council or myself, and say, you know, do you want to spend this money on this topic? Vehicles, or, you know, for police cars and dump trucks and trash trucks, like they're all in the budget. But at the beginning of the new year, you'll see authorization to buy that dump truck or authorization to buy that vehicle, you know. And same with this, you know, to spend a lot of money on a website. It was on the agenda. Like, can I have permission to do this? And so they'll approve it in the budget, but then they want to approve it again to know exactly how much it's going to be.
Gotcha.
So you know, they do want to see it again before you commit that kind of money, if you know, taxpayers' money. But
But see, that's what I'm saying. You're saying before. I guess that's when you're saying before we make the commitment, but are we already telling the vendor? And again, I'm just doing this for knowledge. Are we already telling the vendor yes, and then let me go ask my mom, and then says.
Yeah, money's in the budget, money's.
So it's
It's
good.
there. Yeah, everybody knows we need a new website.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know.
I got you.
It's just, are we going with vendor A, vendor B, vendor C? And we would have meetings ahead of time to make sure they can all fulfill our wants and needs, or, you know, and, but like I say, but once we ask them for their quote,
Right.
it's going to be a very short turnaround. And the quote should have exactly what they're going to do for, obviously, a scope of work, it's going to be in there, what they're going to do. And if 2 or 3 companies or 4 companies can all provide the same type of, features that we want, I mean, then you look to references and just decide on cost, pretty much. If it's like anything at home, you get your 3 quotes and, not that you have to have 3 quotes on something like this, a professional service, but.
Right. And the second thing was,
And then we're going to buy, it's just, are we going to buy from them?
Gotcha.
The company or the other?
the second thing, like I understand as far as our energy with it, but I mean, I'm not more comfortable. I'm comfortable with the spokesperson, right? Like the energy that we're bringing, the detailed list of what we want, the needs, and then having that spokesperson have that meeting with the salesperson, and like Brandon said, then bring back. Yeah, we're that same energy again, saying, okay, that makes sense. This is kind of what we were envisioning, and bringing it there. One, like he was mentioning, is going to be during the day. That may be hard to get everyone or enough people there. And then 2, I'm having the same issue right now with the project at work. When you bring everyone in, everyone starts questioning and doing things, and it has a tendency to prolong actually getting to the solution because everyone has a issue on this, issue on that, and then so I'm comfortable with what we do, letting someone go and then present it, and then
But once again, very precise list.
yeah, very precise.
So that we have all contributed, we have exactly what we're happy with,
Right.
then we bring it.
Right.
Therefore, it'd be kind of the same idea as if we all were there.
Yeah, I'm totally
And the thing that's helpful sometimes is when you come back behind the scenes. So if there's a spokesperson that goes and talks to 2 or 3 providers, sometimes there's, this one's a little more expensive, but we get feature A. This one doesn't give us feature A, but it's a little less, but we get feature C. Like there's always trade-offs that you're kind of managing. And that's sometimes where it's helpful to have people look and go, well, let's balance all these trade-offs, the cost, the features we've given up, the features we've gained. I mean, that's where sometimes it's helpful to have a group of people, to your point, I'll say,
Yeah.
let's thanks, like we got all the information, now let's ponder it. Yeah.
Look at the data, that's why we
And
spend.
look at well, exactly, and look back at like what really
Website.
matters.
To support the data, to support the website.
I also think if they give opportunities for things that can change in the future, like, you know
Yeah.
what, they might have something where I'm either a little more expensive or a little more cheaper, and you're not going to get all your things, but I'll give you a contract within 5 years that will continue to update as the internet's update, as social media updates, as this happens, and we'll give you some free, I don't know, like some other categories that are out there or whatever. If they're going to be, like they're going to get that cost later down the road, because you don't want a website that now you have a website and in 3 years your website is now old and crushed, and it's like, well, now we need an update, and now we have to go back out to a provider and say, now I need to be able to do this because this has changed. But somebody that will continue to work with us for the next 10, 20 years to say, yeah, we're going to continue to maintain it and give you maintenance and whatever that may be. Like, I think that's a big piece to it. You don't want a new website and in 3 years go, okay, it's old now, we need another new one. And council's going to be like, we just gave you all this money for a website and you didn't think it was going to last more than 3 years.
They're all going to want an annual maintenance. Don't worry.
Absolutely.
Don't worry. It's included. Don't worry. They'll all have an annual maintenance cost. It's not once and
As
done.
long as they're going to give us, what we need, that's fine.
And the bigger companies, like, they'll be in business in 10 years or 20 years,
Right.
you know what I mean, like that. But they'll all have an annual maintenance and a support feature where, we want to add something that we didn't think
Absolutely.
about a year ago, so they'll all have that. Not to worry.
I have a question, process question, I guess. Do we have the recommendations? Has that been hammered out? Or are we?
Not on my list.
I mean, I think we've agreed to like some sort of outside the website, just general recommendations, like communicate the survey to residents, make sure we pop up earlier on the Google search, communicate the new website, communicate the results to the residents, use social media to point people to the website, have a communication advisory council. I mean, those are sort of outside the website, and then we should probably come up, if there's any more of those, we should list them, and then we should probably also talk about, and here are the recommendations, like, council, be sure you get this. You need an opt-in, you need a.
Yeah, I think that's first on the list.
I think somebody should write up what we decided on today, and maybe,
Too, right? So I think we can.
flesh it out if it needs it, and then circulate it before we actually go.
I think that sounds good.
And do like a need and a one,
Yeah.
two. Like this one does say too, that has that connect with us, link to White Marsh Facebook X, YouTube. Because then we say we want them to kind of link to those, or actually before we were saying link the other way. To link from Facebook to the page. This links the website
You want
to
both.
those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want it both ways.
Yeah. But before we kept talking about linking it the other way. But another thing I was thinking, these are all pretty local. Would it be worth even, and these are all, I guess these look like the two companies, Granicus and Civic Plus. Would it be worth calling like Lower Marion or Abington or Whitney, White Marsh, and say, you just did it. What would you do differently? Do you have questions that you wish you asked and you didn't? Would you have pushed for this? Maybe get.
Happy with your
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That, was it obsolete?
Yeah,
Do you feel like it's going to
that's
be becoming obsolete now that you're 3 years in?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the townships talk.
Yeah, I have a couple contacts with the other IT departments.
Okay, so I would like
So I
to
can
get
reach
with
out.
them. and see what
Yeah,
they
that's
say.
a great suggestion. Like, it's only when you move in your house that you realize, I would have put a light switch on this wall if I was building it, right? Like, you move in, you have all these ideas. When you use a website and you're like, I wish we did X.
Is there something you wish you did that you
Yeah.
didn't do, or that you did?
All right, so the one feature I have is opt-in.
I would say a more optimized search function in the website, that you can search for something on the website rather than not Google, but on the website, sewer bill, and you'll get actual relevant results.
So then have that I want to button?
Yeah, something like that. I
How
think
do
that's
I?
a real, how do I? Yeah, because that's a
Yes.
I think that's a hot one.
That's an excellent.
It's an Upper Marion.
I think with that, this isn't something that's, I think this is just a broader concept, but just easier to navigate, the categories and the menus and everything like that are just a little bit more streamlined than what we have right now.
Yeah, exactly that. I view it like in a like an app type world, whereas that just hit this button, it gives you, that icon is nice and simple and it gives you.
Yeah, that's a good
that view.
Yeah, so like, I would say better, it'll work better on phones.
Yep, site
Because
assembly.
most people are using their phones, but also a more modern design, because a lot of people are used to the modern apps that we use and modern websites that we use. We expect that. I think we all kind of expect it of every website we go to now. And there's something almost like muscle memory. We know where things kind of are. Like, if I just scroll down a little more, I'll find that piece. So I think it just needs to be a modern look and feel.
What about fewer clicks?
Yeah.
Yes.
This is, homepage is clean, only 4 headings. The address lookup is on a couple that you have stars.
Can we talk about wanting like all of the frequently, like the most used things or the most requested information being like on the front page or easily accessible to the front page?
For a phone, municipal one. I don't know who else uses
Website accessibility, there's a Braille reader. So is it accessible to?
Yeah, I think that's actually probably required, like by web
You've
design.
seen it, I think. It's a
Yeah, we have it
little
on ours,
wheelchair icon.
Oh, yeah.
You have to click on it to get to those features, but I'm pretty, yeah.
I think it's required, just like how I think like construction, like those things are need to be available. like the handicap,
The ADA.
ADA stuff, it's all required. I think it's the same for websites.
Where's it figured out?
One of the things I saw on websites that I really liked was stuff on the front page that seemed more dynamic.
Yeah.
Like it made me, it gave you a reason to go back to the front page because it was changed. Maybe not
Oh,
day to day,
yes.
but week to week, like it wasn't the
Yes.
same. There was something new there.
Yes.
About like if we do it every quarter, whatever's happening every quarter, like, I don't know. If we had like a Halloween parade, you could put that up one quarter, and then whatever you're doing, Santa's coming or whatever. front page.
Things that felt kind of like timely, fresh, seasonal.
Frequently asked questions. Color scheme.
And
color
do we
coding.
know something like that? Would that be like if we were changing the pictures? I'm again curious. Would that be something we would do here, or they would do it?
Yeah, we can do that here.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I think it's also getting the pictures and having, like, I know like the police take a lot of pictures on their sides. We don't really take a lot of pictures here, go to events, so we don't have a lot of that available at our fingertips. But that could be something discussed at future communication meetings and things like that. How can we better
If you
put
want that.
good content on the website?
Maybe you put something out like a contest. Send in all your best pictures of Plymouth Township,
Yeah,
and you give
exactly.
away a $25 gift card to one of our local restaurants or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I would
We need to
probably
see
donate it. Yeah, that's a good idea.
I'm just
That'd
giving
be
myself more
user-generated
work 'cause it's
content.
happening.
That'd be pretty fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
That would be fun.
some general
Yeah.
pictures.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not
the
that easy to change
the
pictures.
community center does a great job. I mean, they take pictures of everything.
I once
Yeah.
broke.
So they have great pictures. The police take great pictures.
And that's something that the board could help choose. Those
Sorry,
pictures.
I'm just like giving ideas. I'm not saying I'm the one changing pictures.
Oh, that's what I just said to Brendan. Currently, it is so hard to change pictures on our
Yeah.
website. And he
like
just
it.
said he's messed it up, and I have messed it up so bad.
putting ease of
I posted on the wrong, under the wrong menu with pictures.
That's why I asked. I'm like, is it something is it our
I
thing
think
now,
it'll
or
be- I think it will be
they maintenance,
easier.
maintain
It will-
that? Gotcha.
Moving forward with a new website, it's got to be easier.
This one, what paint is like a news flash section?
That's your keeping it
That's what you're
fresh
saying,
part.
updated,
Yeah.
recent highlights and information.
But that makes you look there once in a while, just because, like there was an event, or there's coming, what's coming.
What's the other one that was an address lookup so you could learn about your voting district just by putting in an address?
Yeah, it had all
Oh,
the.
there was an
all of
address.
the information you need.
Yeah.
I have a dress lookup, but I know it was voter.
Voter,
Yeah.
voter registration links.
Yep.
Oh, voter
You can just-
registration.
Yeah, it, like your zoning area, your trash day, like I feel like I don't even remember what website that was.
Upper Marion.
I feel like that sounds really expensive to be able to do that though.
Yeah, but we don't ask.
They have like a welcome packet for new residents.
Yeah, Lower Marion had that,
Lower Marion.
Actually, just create a web page.
Upper Dublin.
Oh, that's a good
That is a
idea.
good idea.
What was that?
That's not my idea.
Online welcome packet for new residents, do something.
Like it online instead of, yeah.
That is
That is a really good idea.
But it-
See, we do have like buying or selling a house on there.
Yes,
Things
that
that
is
you
true.
should do if you're buying. But it should be expanded, I'm sure.
A couple of them talk about board information, agendas, videos, bios.
yeah.
I don't know. I guess just, you can have a lot of information as long as it's easy to find it. Is it intuitive, when you go, sometimes you get in the weeds of all these things, so as user-friendly as possible.
You mentioned that before, as far as like the what they were going to do with the videos, or I mean, like going forward, is it going to be more videos, like a bigger library, or are we
So-
even doing videos?
So we do videos for regular meetings,
Okay,
and that's all we do right now.
gotcha.
I don't know if we are going to expand on that. It's possible, you just. And we have right now how we do it is I just throw up like the YouTube videos because we put everything up on YouTube. That's kind of a repository for our videos because there's really not.
Yes, please.
It's not so easy to upload all your videos to the website and then post it that way. because we want them on YouTube anyway, so just let us cross-reference.
Gotcha.
Makes it a little easier that way.
Okay.
But there are repositories on a lot of these websites that you can just bake a video into, like, put the agenda, a video, like all the links to everything you need for a certain meeting. So, yeah, just one meeting's recorded. All the audio is always recorded. So I would just throw up a audio recording with a thumbnail to YouTube for ones that don't have actual video.
Gotcha.
There's another one that's, Upper Dublin has a calendar of events on the homepage, which is information that's currently happening. It's very easy to click on a day and find events.
We have that.
We have that.
I think
We
it.
have everything. We do.
It's right on the.
I think it'll.
I know it's all
You
there.
can click in the agenda.
And this isn't saying that we don't have it. This was like.
We had those.
When we reviewed websites, that was something that's.
It'll matter when it's more mobile friendly.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
right now, if you're looking at it on the phone, our calendar of events is buried
But the
Yeah, all the way
calendar.
at the bottom.
20 scrolls down.
Click on the
So that will
Tells
be
you what's
more
happening,
prominent
what meetings are that
with a
night.
more mobile friendly
I know,
one.
the Cunnington
So,
group
yeah,
couldn't
I'm
find
just
the
looking
quick
at like
links.
things that we thought were nice on other websites.
It's like, this is what
I know.
Well,
and that one looks like,
depends on if they were on their phone.
and it's like.
But I did it on
nice
my
and
phone.
big.
You have to scroll down.
It was, you just have to scroll a little further, and it just didn't scroll far
I
enough.
think newer ones are gonna look like that.
Yeah, because they're more, you have to scroll.
Yeah. Yeah, you
That's what I'm saying. You can have
Opt-in.
with the icons. You can have 40 icons, but once you tap on the one,
Yeah.
they're uniform.
So like
then
it-
then it opens up the world.
Ours isn't mobile, it wasn't.
No, when you say it's mobile friendly, I don't know if this is a silly question. Do you have to have an app or can you search it?
It's web-based, so it's just their website, but the way it looks on a
missing?
computer is different than the way it looks on the phone. But it's not an app, it's a website.
She has one in hers. Is that one of the new ones I just printed?
I grabbed it from right here.
Yeah, so I guess the new one, for whatever reason, got excluded.
Fine.
I'll make sure it's in the final copy.
No, so
So
I
when you
just,
send it to me, I'll have it. I'm trying to make sure I can back it up.
I just wanted the group to weigh in. I know we had the tiny little bar charts, the opt-in bar charts, and we had said the recommendation would be the top 5 suggestions where the group said opt-in, like there were big green bars. Those are the ones that we're gonna
Oh, I
say,
remember, yeah.
have those opt-in. Is that still what we wanna say?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the one that's on the test.
I think that
It's
was.
one before,
Public safety.
I don't think it was in this.
so it's
Yeah.
the one right before push versus
Yep.
pull slide.
Trash.
Looks like this. Oh, you might have imported that one.
I think I imported that as a PDF.
Yeah, that's something else. But this is the one you're talking about.
Yes. Yeah, and you started the same ones. Those are the ones that we said, definitely have those opt-in. So that should be part of what we say, I think, like, definitely have those opt-in.
You don't have that?
I'll get it.
Yeah, I'll make sure
I was
you.
gonna say, do you want my
We
packet?
we went through a bunch of cleaning the house, so it's either there or in the recycle bin, one or the other. But I'll find it.
Cycle bin.
I know, listen, when I do that, I like make everyone throw everything out, which includes mine.
All right, what else?
With the website, is there, or with the new vendors, is it app possible? Like, is that something that an app, is it something that they offer also?
I'm sure they would, yeah. It's probably pretty expensive.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't think, as long as it looks good on the phone, like the website,
Yeah, no,
I don't
it
really
works.
think an app is necessary.
Gotcha.
Um,
I'm just an app guy. I got way too many on my phone, but that's just me. I go through the apps for everything because it's easier for me to. I shouldn't say it, probably say my passwords and stuff like that.
Well, that's I feel like that's what modern web designs are like. It's almost, it's like almost easier, it's easier to come from like an app to a website because
Okay.
it's kind of in blocks and everything's just placed more strategically by the developers.
Like you're saying, basically the same feel of the app from the actual website.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right, what else, my friends? What else goes on our list of recommendations, either for recommendations specifically about the website or other recommendations? I'm feverishly taking notes here.
I mean, that might just be the big points.
Is there anything in like the
I was just looking at like when we Google it, they're gonna show us a sample and say, yep, this is where we plug and play, everything, this is what we want to move on. You know, we're not reinventing the wheel, right? Like, it's just making sure that we have these key features somewhere in there.
You know, and I love the idea of talking to some of the other municipalities that use these two providers and saying like, what do you know now that you're up and running that we should know?
after we buy this, do they return your calls?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. How's the service, and what's your wish list? Like, what do you like? We put that on, but nobody really uses it, or boy, we wish we did.
Yeah, like that's the one I'm curious about, right? Like it's bells and whistles that, or even if it's standard that they're realizing isn't look good, but no one uses it. No one does anyone really use the how-to search, right? Just in theory, it sounds good, but are they doing something else versus that? And again, that could be standard, so it wouldn't matter whether we take it or not. But those are the type of analytics I would be curious about. Like, what are they actually using on your website?
Yeah, those are great questions.
Like, I don't know, why they're using the website like it used to be used before. It looks good, but they're doing the same things to it.
So what's next? What are you thinking, presenter?
I mean, to me, like the last comment, like here do we suggest council do? I mean, is it just as simple as, yes, get your vendors to come in and give you a price? We've given you our highlights of what we would really like to see on the website to make it more efficient, and, you know, we would be willing to stick around through this entire process and help get through this, and maybe at the end of this, create a citizens board or communications board that would be able to communicate with the community and come back to council and make sure people are utilizing this and finding what they need and making updates as necessary. I'll never be able to repeat that on December 2nd. Well, I'm just saying. I'm recording. You're gonna have to pull that recording. Thank you. Because it'll never come out the same.
Can you get a transcript?
Probably could. I could probably throw in an AI or something.
Yeah.
Do we have a time frame?
Yeah, Dragon.
Yeah, so you might have missed this when we started. We're shooting for presenting to council on December 2nd, which is a workshop meeting, and it starts at 6 o'clock.
Well, no, I mean as far as getting the vendors and approving and getting started. Like,
As soon as we have everything we want and need, right?
we'll reach out and okay. I mean, it's not like end of year type necessary. Gotta get this in. Gotta spend this money, or you won't get it next year for your budget type thing. Know how that works.
Yeah. So does the group want to come back together before December 2nd at all? Communicate via email, Zoom with each other, show up face to face? I mean, do anything last? Have a trial run, see the deck that's finalized? I mean, how do you want to get between here and December?
Circulating it by email.
Yeah. I don't want to trial run, I'll have to do it twice. It's like, I just want to do it once and, but I can put everything together.
Do you want to send it to us?
Absolutely.
Send like the PowerPoint.
And I can even do like the PowerPoint and do like what my notes say compared to what the bullet points say or whatever it is, and get everybody's input. If you really want me to present it, I will, but I mean, I don't really need to present it twice, but if you guys, whatever everybody wants to get together, that's fine.
I think we're getting a little crunch time with Thanksgivings.
Yeah.
Like, we have next week,
Yeah,
and then the week after that's Thanksgiving, and then we.
Then it's December 2nd.
Yeah. The next Monday.
Circulating an email is
Email it out.
Yeah, that's fine. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good?
Just email us and we'll tell you how great and perfect it is and
Okay, no, make the changes, just edit.
And if you need anything from me, like from the survey, just reach out.
Okay,
I can give you my work phone number as well.
that'd be great, thank you.
And you can call me whenever during the day.
Would it be beneficial at all to give council links to websites, local websites by these providers?
Yeah, I think
That's a nice idea. What do you think?
I think it's a great idea.
I'm sorry, I missed the beginning of.
Give them, I mean, I know it's a lot of looking at stuff ahead of time, but if we just provided them links for website examples done by these providers.
yeah, it gives them a chance to see what we saw.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Good idea.
That's a great
Yeah, I
idea.
think that makes sense.
and it's relatable, like if we give them whip pain and.
I say maybe one of each,
Right, you
one
know.
of each provider.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I
One
mean.
of
Yeah.
Granicus
That's
and
a good
one of
idea.
Civic Plus.
Yes.
They're local.
Yeah.
Dublin and maybe
Karen,
White
did you ever connect with,
Marsh or Whitney in Upper Dublin.
their website was?
Yeah, so,
something to have in curiosity.
Have a note somewhere.
Well, yes,
Next door.
that is also important.
I remember Shanksville has, they have a very basic,
I
very
In
basic.
White Marsh, it's a Civic Plus.
White Marsh is nice. I looked at that website. That's a nice one.
I wanted to
I
say.
really like Lower Marion.
And Lower Marion, so let's.
You want to do Lower Marion instead of Upper Dublin? There's a lot more.
It doesn't matter. I mean, that's just the one I reviewed.
And look, you can give them 8 and they can tweak it. You know, whatever they have time, like 2 lists. This is Civic Plus, this is the other one. Just look at something that we looked at.
Yeah, that's good.
Because it was nice
I
when
do
we
think
were.
there's
we were
one though,
looking at
there's
that.
one of
I wasn't at
the
that meeting.
websites that we haven't figured out
At this
who
one.
it is.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't say the name on any.
I looked at
They're like Conshohocken,
something
I
that was in.
think. It might have been Upper Gwynedd. They all are very, I think they have similar like structures. They look very similar, but none of them say the name of who it actually is.
This one? This one's Civic Plus, Upper Gwynedd.
Oh, Upper Gwynedd.
What was the other one you said?
Conshohocken definitely doesn't say who it is. Well, unless I missed it.
There were
Usually it's at the very bottom.
There were 4
Yeah, it just says
that I
Borough,
think Becky, you
Conshohocken.
listed that were on the sheet that were a
Sometimes you
couple
can
of
have them
Granicus and a couple of Civic Plus that people looked at and were like,
Hard to
"Ooh,
pay
that's
for
nice."
it.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Those are good ones.
Do we like this one? The country one?
It would be, it was, as soon as I went on, I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, I did that with White
Stood
Marsh.
on
I was like,
the
ooh, this looks nice.
Yeah, there were some that, I just remember some that were very similar, you're right, it was
I have
Upper.
a comment. One of the things I did is I searched to see who used what websites. And there's a site out there called Built With.
Oh, Lower
It tells
Gwynedd.
you that.
Oh, really?
Yes. And so Granicus has 4,553 customers.
Interesting fact.
Civics Plus has 5,346. And then there was another one called Revise that has 2,508 customers. So, and then a smaller one called Municipal Inspect with only 462. So I don't know if that's of any value.
No,
It is, it
that's,
tells you who the big players are.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And what was Civic
The
Plus?
third-
The first 2 again? What were their numbers?
Granicus, 4,553 customers. And this is all from builtwith.com.
Interesting.
It tells you how websites are built. You know, apparently they're, and it's all broken out by industry and that sort of thing. Civics, so Granicus, 4,553, Civics Plus, 5,346, and Revised, 2,508. Then there's another smaller one.
Yeah. That's helpful, though. I mean, there's clearly like 3 good-sized players.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
Nice
So
find, Al.
It might be worth checking with Revise also to see. The only one I saw locally was Schwenksville Borough, and that is very basic. It's like, has none of the features we're talking about.
Oh, really? And that was done by Revise?
Yeah.
So you don't know, we don't know if that's what they asked for, or that's what Revise provides?
Maybe the reason they use them is because they're dirt cheap. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a possibility.
Yeah.
But it seems like it might be worth at least checking out that company.
And they're built with, it just tells you the numbers, doesn't tell you.
It's got all kinds of info. I just, I didn't,
I mean, will we be able to go and?
yeah, you could
check
go
those
look
websites
at
that
it yourself.
I mean, that Revise has done.
I forget, I did this, 9:25?
Good research, Al.
This is kind of a cool feature, most requested. I don't know if that's powered by,
It's like FAQs.
yeah.
Where is that?
This is a Granicus website, but it's like kind of like right below the. That's kind of helpful.
Yeah.
What do they call it?
Most requested.
Oh, yeah, they have popular resources.
Yeah, who do they use?
This is Granicus.
It doesn't say who our provider is. Doesn't say anyone?
I don't.
Do you know who it is?
Ego.
It's coming on site powered by eGov. So they're
Oh,
Munition.
It's not showing up on here.
Munition is the company that it is now. But
It's changed name.
There was something too about our website, when you Googled or you searched it, it brought it up in in the opposite order, not the most current.
That has gotten better.
That's just the way things are posted, that's not a part of the search.
Were you just saying when you Google our website,
So we had a conversation about,
Like meetings, and then we'll have 20.
like in the search bar up here?
Oh, yeah, you're
Yeah.
talking.
something and it was.
Oh, that?
Like it just.
Yeah,
it's not-
it doesn't
Yeah,
work.
look,
Oh,
Yeah.
Government, go under meeting videos,
Yeah.
just for one example, and
Yeah.
then see how the years are in reverse. You have to come all the way
Right.
down. They put like
Oh,
24 at the
yeah.
top, 23,
Yeah.
just reverse.
Oh, but I even thought there was
Same
something,
for the months.
even I was like Googling like trash or recycling and you would get PDFs.
From like 2008.
Yeah.
Yes, and I don't think
Yes.
that was just even our website, even some others did that too. So, but
Agendas.
Right.
assuming people want, when they're Googling or searching, they want like current
Yeah.
today. So I don't know if that's
Most
it.
recent on top.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
The new bill. Yeah.
Okay. What else, friends? Anything else we should do tonight? Any other suggestions, ideas?
Make sure your calendar's clear for December 2nd. Because the presenter's not answering all the questions. Somebody needs some backup.
The team has your back, I'm sure they do.
Do we need any trails guy? That's the question. Do you want to be,
What'd you say?
do you want to be before or after the Montgomery County Trails guy?
I don't know, whatever you want.
That's the other presentation that night.
Don't just remember, 2 of the council members are already here, so.
So it can't be.
It's just order. Would you rather be 6 and get into that like, faster than listening to somebody else do their presentation?
Oh, listen, I'm going to stay anyway because I'm going to feel embarrassed to get up and leave after my presentation. So I'm like, oh, I'm out. Bye, guys. I'm going to stay till the end either way. So you can put me at the end. It's
I'm
fine.
offering you the first or second slot.
No, I'll take the second.
Okay.
All right.
Good stuff, team. All right, so I guess our final steps, John Per's presentation, shares with the group, everybody gets to weigh in. See you on December 2nd.